mere depression, but soon became a super typhoon as it reached Bicol region.
Here we find remains during such a big typhoon. It almost covers the whole of the Philippines with spray clouds.
Rainfall reached up to 18 inches. The wind blew rooftops off, and there was flooding in the Gaspi.
Shouldn't be called a landslide. It was much more of a mudflow, like in the heart of the eruption of Mount Pinatubo. The loose soil from the volcano turned into a flow that was comparable to wet cement.
Eventually, the lahar rushed down into the slopes of Mayon and into the barangays. Here, we find the destruction of Barangay Santo Domingo and Barangay Ginubatan, the destruction of the Gaspi City and the Raga River.
Death tolls reach about 500 plus people and 700 people are still missing.
The culprit must have been the landslide, since there was a widespread destruction of both life and property. Shell was just another poor victim of Mayon tragedy, a victim of how poorly the LGU's unit acted beforehand.
Then how do you explain the cuts and wounds in the victim? We believe it was brought by the force of the lahar flow and debris.
It wasn't all like that. Allow us to explain.
Enough evidence to support the claim that the victim was killed. The following data was taken in an autopsy done by Dr. Derry a few hours ago.
Here we have the victim's arm. The cuts, as you can see, are parallel to the victim's arm. This clearly suggests that the victim was dragged vertically by the feet. The scratches on the legs are different from the cuts on the arm.
There was also blood found under the fingernails of the victim. She must have clawed the murderer while they were caught in a brawl.
Next is a big blood clot behind the victim's head. It was actually a severe head injury caused by a continuous blow by blow from something hard and sharp.
This is the fractured skull of the victim. In the middle between the cortex, we can trace the fracture from the front up to the top part.
So we do have actually 3 strong evidences that murder was involved. The wounds were too precise for a random mudflow. Next we have skull composition.
On the left, this was found in the victim's thorax and larynx. On the right side, this was taken by our teammates just a few days ago in the site.
After lab analysis, I found out that the soil of the victim is entirely different from the one found in the site. If this was the mudflow that killed the victim, they should have been the same. The soil inside the victim was actually your normal garden soil.
We suggest that the victim suffocated to death.
I thought the victim died with blunt blows to the head.
We thought so too, but through careful analysis, we found out that a fatal blow could have rendered anyone unconscious. The body must have been buried after the bashing.
This explains greatly why there was a blood trail in the scene and a shallow hole at the distance. The murderer must have dumped the body into the hole, covered it with soil,
which made the victim suffocate.
So the lahar flow must have displaced the body from its original burial place, and the culprit is not the husband.
I beg your pardon?
The husband did not kill the wife. Here is the husband. His name is Mando Mapagmahal. He is a farmer. He is also an alcoholic. He is regularly seen in the barrio with friends. On the night before the victim died, he left the home to what the twin said was an argument over making a baby. He got into a fight with a drunken group, and being drunk himself, got smashed in the head with a Red Horse bottle. Around this time, he was transferred in a faraway vicinity, suggesting he is innocent. So that leaves us with no other suspect. I couldn't believe the husband didn't do it.
Guys, I brought a DNA match from the piece of cloth and the blood from under the nail. It's possible.
You lied to me, Marcel.
Anong ginagawa ko dito?
You know perfectly well why you are here. The evidence does not not lie. We found your blood on the scene of the crime. We also found your blood under the fingertips of your sister.
Ano ngayon?
What now? I tell you what, you are guilty for the murder of your sister. No doubt. Mando was innocent. He was detained in jail while you were out there killing your sister. Have got your tongue? Here's what we think happened. Chell did go back for the heirloom, but you didn't go to the barrio. Instead, you said you'd wait for her because you were afraid she'd lose her way. Then you come from nowhere and try to get her on her face. You hated that face that won Mando's heart. Then, as she tripped on a twig, she bumped her head on a tree. And then you pushed her down on a rock. You dragged Chell into a clearing, undressed her, took the heirloom you fought for and threw Chell into one of Mando's shallow, empty compost pits and filled it with soil. You noticed that she cut your arm, and you cut a piece of Chell's clothing, tied it up. But surely you forgot that it fell onto the ground. But you did not forget the heirloom before burying her alive.
Buhay?
Yes. She died because you buried her alive. You got soil on her throat, indicating she had been unconscious all along.
Ha! May nakalimutan ka.
What? The heirloom? The heirloom is already on your neck.
Nag-away sila kamakailan lang. Mga 2 araw bago siya mamatay.
Pinatay dahil dito! Pinatay ko siya dahil mahal ko si Mando! Teka lang! Mahal ko si Mando! Kahit ko hindi pa sila kasal ni Chen! Nagkarelasyon kami! Nagkasali kami kapag wala si Chen! Kasabihan niya ako ng magagandang salita! Ako si Mando!
Unbelievable! How sure are you that man is not using you for his own pleasure?
Sinabihan niya ako na ako na ang gusto niya magdala ng anak niya. Dalawang linggo na! Dalawang linggo na! Diyos, mahal mo ako.
I'm calling the police.
Mahal niya ako! Mahal ko siya! Mahal niya ako! Mahal ko siya! Mahal niya ako! Mahal ko siya! Mahal niya ako! Mahal ko siya!
Stay tuned for scenes from our next episode.